and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Oracle of the Seasons, a Let's Play by Link6616. This week, we are going to collect the element of winter. But before that, we're going to run into Maple, I believe. She's a witch. She's the daughter of, the witch Syrup, I believe, who makes magic potion. And she's a little minigame that crops up every so often. I think it's either based on enemies you kill, or, things. What are they called? Screens that you pass through. And you both drop some items, and whichever one of you collects more is the winner. Win so many times and you get different effects. Ah. That's what we want. Let's plant a geisha seed. Or gusher seed, sorry. Radio then. Let's head down and just check if we can appraise any rings. It's a ring! Discovery ring! So a lot of the gaseous seed spots are hidden underneath other things, so you have to discover them by actually looking. This ring, very simple, just makes a sound a little bit like, well, we better actually equip it. Just makes a bit of a sound whenever you are actually in a place that has it. Man, am I not talking well today. Oh well. So now, if I go somewhere that has a gaseous seed, I can go plant it easily. Ah, plot. Well then, let's go see if we can find some spirits. Beautiful Song of Storms reference there for those who played Ocarina of Time. And here we get our first introduction to the Subrosians. This is kind of this world's relationship or idea with dwarves, I guess. Even though Goron sort of already occupied that spot, these chaps have a bit of a different perspective. They're often very, very different, almost for the sake of being different, and a little bit silly and childish overall. It's, pardon me, it seems. One thing to note about their eyes is that when I used to play this as a kid, when they faced, you know, down, I used to actually think it was a single eye. Now looking at it this playthrough, it's super clear that they're actually two eyes. Anyway, it's a very simple stealth game, although there is one little trick that comes up that I'm going to point out when we get to it. That is so mean. That is really cruel to put in an opening stealth segment, you know. And to Subrosia. Now, rather than finding out how we're supposed to do things, I'm just going to go and quickly get the boomerang by doing a bit of a dancing game. Yep. So it's a very simple press left to go left, press right to go right, and press A to do a little spinny thing. I'm not going to worry with instructions. Not the music again. So you have a bit of leniency on timing, but not the actual actions themselves. Well, you do have a bit. Ah. Mind. Rightio then, let's do this again. And focus. Yes! Best dancer, despite the fact that I was clearly out of time multiple times through that dance. Now what's cool is that you'll notice if I look at my inventory screen that the boomerang has levels. Now a lot of Zelda items have levels, that's fine, but what on earth would the boomerang upgrade to? And what the boomerang upgrades to is pretty cool. However, that's about 5-6 episodes away, I guess? So, it's gonna be a mystery. No spoilers there. Unless I get bored and tell you. Anyway. So now, let's go and get our mystical item that lets us modify the world for our own enjoyment. The Rod of the Seasons. Worth noting on the comment on forum, it pains me to say that the Australian version and British version, presumably, of Oracle of the Seasons did not localise that to autumn, which is the proper word, despite the fact historically actually fall is the proper word, but it's not the word that the country I live in uses. Same with England because we're all fancy. Yes! The power to bring farmers to ruin. In actual fact, while obviously all time travel related powers are absurd, and of course can't actually happen because of the mass damage that would cause, the power to alter the seasons at will actually seems extremely dangerous due to the huge ecological damage that should cause, because clearly people can see that this is actually not just compression of time, but more just a sudden switch in environmental plans. Which, yeah, that's a pretty serious issue when you sit down and think about it. Because this isn't just controlling a little bit of weather, adding a storm here, which is pretty significant. But yeah, this is quite severe stuff that happens. Anyway, the ecological implications of Zelda games are not really all that important. So if I recall correctly, the structure of the game follows that you get about one season a dungeon for the first 4 dungeons, and then you start getting some really interesting season puzzles, although I'm sure when I get to them I'll think they're a little bit brain dead, but for now I'm going to live in hope that they're actually quite amazing as I remember them as a child. As I've said numerous times in past episodes, I think the season mechanic is a lot more interesting than the time mechanic overall, although given how simple it starts up, it's going to be a bit hard to believe that it gets a lot better. Anyway, time to get to our first dungeon. He seems to be the only person who knows anything, really. It's a bit unusual. Anyway, let the ecological terrorism begin. Berry fountain, always good to know. I don't need to use that here. Now I am a little bit curious how the Zelda team or the Capcom team plan the positioning of stumps and so on to ensure that you can always make it back and forth. I'm sure they must have just planned some heuristics. I've never heard it pronounced actually, but made some, nice simple rules to decide how to position the stumps constantly, and then modified positions later based on making more interesting puzzles. But it would be interesting to know the thought process behind the placement of these. I should have actually, for the sake of that joke being more effective, shown you what her house sign says. And that was the hint that we were to know that we need to be in winter, because you can approach that from the bottom side. Anyway, I don't actually need to go this way, although I might check in here quickly. Yep, I'm gonna need some flippers. Well, don't worry, we're nearly at the second dungeon. The second dungeon is a very exciting place that you won't see for quite a while because I'll be quite busy doing other things. Ooh. I absolutely adored this the first time I ran into it. Not just there's a hidden room here. It's not that great a joke, really. But in a universe where Link can do pretty much whatever he wants without any negative repercussions, such as damaging people's homes and so on, it's quite funny. There's probably something buried there. Now, the question is, how do I get to that dungeon again? That would make sense. That's why I need the shovel. And we get our second seeds, the mystery seeds. From here on out, we start seeing some owl statues, which give us a little bit of advice here and there. But they also do a lot of little jokey things, like if we use them, they have some random effects. They can do things to enemies. They can make cuckoos large. They're generally a bit of a fun item, although not as useful as you'd really hope. Anything cool in here? Just things to restore life. Seems good in your dungeon. Well then, time to enter our dungeon. Snake's Remains. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.